Our reading for April 26th, which is the third Sunday of the season of Easter, is the story of the road to Emmaus. It happened on the evening of that same day, that day being the one that the women went to the garden, went to the tomb, and found it empty. The day that the disciples were huddled in the room afraid, and Jesus shows up and says, "Peace be with you." That same evening, there were two friends who were walking home to Emmaus. And a stranger joins them on the way and says, "What are you talking about?" And the friends actually say, "Are you the only person in the entire city of Jerusalem who doesn't know what's happened?" And they talk about the resurrection and the death and the crucifixion, and then the resurrection and the mystery of what had happened that day. And the stranger says to them, "Well, of course, didn't you know this is the way things were supposed to play out?" And then spends that time explaining the scriptures to them and talking to them. And they're interested and engaged in this conversation. And finally, they get to where their home is in Emmaus. And the stranger makes to go on. And the friends say, "No, no, no, come. It's almost evening. Come, you must stay with us." That holy hospitality. And so they invite the stranger who has accompanied them on their journey, invite him in to have dinner and to stay the night. And at dinner, he takes the bread, he blesses it, he breaks it, and he gives it, and they realize it's Jesus. And as soon as they realize it's Jesus, poof, he's gone. And they say, "Are not our hearts strangely warmed? Are not our hearts on fire?" as he explained these teachings and learnings to us. There is so very much in this wonderful, amazing resurrection story. But one of the things that struck me is the 4 verbs that come in that last part of the story: take, bless, break, and give. Take, bless, break, and give. And it's only after those verbs they realize that Jesus is with them. So take a few moments now and let's reflect on those verbs in our life and our time right now. Think for a moment about take. Maybe what has been taken from you. Has it been your liberty? Has it been your travel plans? Has it been your ability to gather with the people you love? What have you taken from this time? Have you taken time and space to create new patterns or new rituals, to spend time with family members all cooped up in the house together? Have you taken an opportunity to learn a new instrument, tidy the linen closets, finally go through that junk drawer, maybe do some puzzles or some art? Our whole house is covered with art and puzzles and crafts right now. What have you taken in this time? What have you taken advantage of in this time? And what has been a blessing? What has been a blessing for you in this crazy, mixed up time? I actually was on the phone with the pharmacy and they said, "Oh, no, of course we'll deliver to you." And I said, I could get used to this, like phoning up and saying, "Hey, I need this. Can you bring it to me?" It's a blessing not to have to worry about going and getting it. But what other blessings have there been? There have been at 7 o'clock in places around the world, people making a joyful noise to say thank you to those folks who are still going to work because we need them so very much. They are a blessing. What other blessings have you seen? How have you been a blessing? Have you connected on the phone, on internet, written a letter to someone that you haven't talked to in a long time? Have you reached out and helped somebody who was lonely or scared? Have you delivered groceries or picked up something for someone along the way? What has been a blessing for you in this time? And how have you been a blessing? And then our next verb is break. Break. We think of that as destruction, don't we? Something is broken. But at the same time, if the bread is not broken, we can't share it. There is a Japanese word, and I'm not going to butcher the language by trying to repeat it, that talks about how a piece of work is not perfect until you see a broken spot in it that's been repaired. It's in the broken where the beauty comes. Leonard Cohen, there's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. So maybe there are things that have been broken that are hard for you. But maybe it's in the brokenness that we learn to share a different way, that we let the light get in. And then finally, give. What has this given you? What has this time of COVID and quarantine given to you? And how have you been able to give to creation, to neighbors, to God? Have you found opportunity to have a prayer practice or a meditation practice or a yoga practice? All those things we say we just never have time for. Well, now we've got time. You've been given this gift of time. Have you been able to give to others? Because the gift of time to do all these new and creative things is a luxury for those of us with the comfort and the security and the privilege of enough to eat and a safe place to stay. How have you given to those who do not share that privilege? There's lots of places online. Social Planning Cowichan has a list of them in our local community where you can give to keep the vitality of this community strong and to show gratitude for what you have been given. So that's just some things to think about in our little time of COVID-19. How does the story of the road to Emmaus, how does that resonate with you? I'll have some other reflections about paths and the way in other video posts. But for now, think about this. Take, bless, break, give. How do these verbs bring meaning and power and connection of your soul to the divine in this place and in this time? Amen.